So let's talk about the media. $595 million salary subsidy in the last 4 years. $60 million pandemic-specific emergency support fund. $10 million special measures for journalism top-up for 2021 and 22. And then the recent request for $60 million, describing a $30 million annual shortfall in their operating budget.
If you look at America and American journalism in the last 5 and 6 years, the growth of, especially of the cable channels, plural, and the absolute surrender to the most vile partisanship, the whole Russia collusion thing. If you read some of the sane people, Molly Hemingway's book, for example, you realize, and it's hard even to digest, that was all confection, that was all composure, that was all made up. And the savagery with which during the Trump years, any detail got in. The CBC wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for Donald Trump. When you switch up to the Biden administration, and we know that he's kind of Lon Chaney coming out of the chamber wrapped in linen, hardly anything. The huge scandals that are going on, the Durham Commission down in the States right now, that's not even getting reported. Much like, now I will switch, up here in Canada on the very day that the Stallions were going into Parliament Hill, you had the Coastal GasLink, the attack by 20 masked people with axes who threatened people in the cabs of their trucks. As far as I know, it was close to 24 hours before that even got reported. Now, what I'm getting to before I get to the money is that the press as an institution, there are many exceptions, but by the mass of the institution, it is decided it is a player, that it will pick a side, that it will inflate the people that it likes to inflate, and it will derogate and damn those that it does not. They will do that from a perch of self-assumed moral superiority. Here's what you need to know. They have forgotten that their audience has intelligence and dignity, and they really think that it's more or less a cooperative movement between the elites of government, bureaucracy, the university, and the press. And then when some low-class operation occurs that some bunch of, big hat truckers come in, who are these people who are interrupting our complacency and tranquility? It would have been impossible 50 years ago for any institutional press to say, oh, by the way, we see ourselves as opposition. That's what a press is. It inquires, it pushes, it tests. But at the same time, incidentally, most of our operation is getting funded by the people we're dealing with. Also, the close cohabitation of the high-class journalists with the people that they cover. I will tell you this, it doesn't show up on the newscast very often, but when you talk to what I call the guy in the street, they know that $600 million goes to the press. They are not watching anymore. The press is a part of this dynamic. It's a part of this crisis. I don't know where we go from it. We'll get to that, I'm sure. But there's been an awful diminishment of respect, dignity, and prestige for both the government, and that means, by the way, the opposition parties too, and the press during this. This is why I brought up the United States. It wasn't idle. They had a sustained 4 years of believing what was not true. I'm stating this with definitive force. It simply wasn't true. Putin did not own Trump. Now, people might not like to hear that, but it was a confection. It was a setup. And yet all of the great investigative powers of some of the greatest journals and television stations in all the world went with it day and night. And now you have, for example, Mr. Biden's son with his contracts and these Chinese, not even to be mentioned. Here's how it comes to be. This far right, the white supremacy movement. I see the phrase white supremacy so often, and I wonder, where is this coming from? There will always be, some fanatically stupid set of people with some fanatically stupid cause, but there has not been, let me use this word, a pandemic of racist white challenge, but it's been the fodder and the newspeak and the woke dialect, and it's been shoved out so often. It's silly, but if you pound it hard enough and long enough, enough people will believe it.